Doesn't matter the genre, the low end is one of the most unforgiving parts of a mix to get right. And the pros have some tools up their sleeve that they use in secret to help get that unruly low end in check. And in this video, I'm going to unveil what some of these tools pro mixers call in to help them with that pesky low end, including one plugin that is possibly one of the biggest cheat codes to mixing low end you'll never want to mix without. So imagine yourself standing at the crossroads of the final mix bus stage. You find yourself comparing your mix to the references provided by the artist, but something's amiss. No matter how much you tinker, that desired low end remains out of reach. And a single misstep could send the entire low end relationship of your mix spiraling into disarray. It's a frustrating, never-ending loop, like Doctor Strange battling Dormammu.
Dormammu, I come to bargain.
Well, this is what Bass Room is meant to solve. Its very design is tailored to correct the perception of the low end, and the way it works is beautifully simple. Within Bass Room, you go into the target menu and you choose your desired low end style. Then watch in awe as Bass Room manipulates these toy-looking blocks assigned to different low end frequencies. Push them up or down and behold the perception of your low end shifts. Oh, and those ends within the box? They control the volume, allowing you to craft a balanced low end. But hold on tight, my friends, because the allure of Bass Room doesn't stop there. Nestled right next to the target section, a hidden treasure, an option to create your own targets. Drag in the track and highlight the section in the reference track you're wanting to replicate. And like magic, Bass Room sets the perimeters to achieve the same coveted low-end perception in your mix. Now take a breath and don't rush off just yet to get Bass Room. We still have plenty of hidden gems for low-end to get through. So I'm pretty sure everyone's heard of plugins like RBass, MaxBass, and other similar plugins, which use synthesis to create harmonics for perceived larger low-end. This can be great, but there's just one problem. The low end isn't just one frequency, it's a region or a range of frequencies that each have their own painful issues. With Root 1, the low end is intelligently separated into sub, thump, and punch regions to control the subharmonics created by Root 1 for each of those ranges. But that's not all.
That's not all, folks.
There's an additional feature that sets it apart. An overall saturation harmonic blend is also at your disposal, adding a touch of richness to the signal. And the best part? Just like at Burger King, you can have your low end your way. Each band comes with dynamic control, allowing you to fine-tune and sculpt your low end precisely how you want it. Next on the list is a plugin that comes from one of the best modern mastering engineers who's worked with artists like Northlane and Architects, and also penned the legendary book, The Systematic Guide to Mixing, Ermin Hamidovich. And being a master of modern mastering means Ermin is a master at low-end control. So it's no surprise that he founded Submission Audio, a haven for some of the best virtual bass instrument libraries known to humankind. But Ermin's crowning glory lies within the confines of Submission Audio, a gem known as Double Tap. At first glance, it resembles a humble stump box with 6 knobs, fueled by Ermin's years of low-end control wizardry. This beast of a plugin separates the low-end and full-band frequencies, treating them with their own unique brand of compression and saturation. Double Tap even has a secret switch, where bass for electronic music gets some special treatment. Ermin has considered every detail, ensuring that this plugin brings harmony and balance to any bass instrument in a production. Next on this list is an intelligent multi-band frequency plugin that many modern mixers from pop all the way to modern metal have fallen in love with. The power behind this plugin allows for more clarity, punch, and you guessed, yep, low-end power, by utilizing the power of sidechaining. But the sidechaining that this plugin offers is so much smoother and powerful. Trackspacer houses 32 independent bands that react to the incoming audio signal. And because of the flexibility of the 32 bands moving more musically, it's a great way to get the kick, bass, synth bass, and sub drops to all work deliciously together like a low-end peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Sandwich.
Next, a plugin from the mind of a Grammy-winning mixer that's worked with some of the top charting artists in the world. What makes this plugin so great is it takes traditional processing but combines another time-tested technique pro mixers use to get consistent low-end punch in a mix. Mixland Subloom comes from the mind of Grammy-winning mixer Jesse Ray Ernster. The left side allows you to mix the natural kick with an onboard British-style EQ, some filters, and a handy resonant cue that is applied on the high-pass filter section. There's transient shaping that can be put before or after the saturation circuit, which is where the fun really happens, thanks to the flexibility of having second-order tube harmonics, or completely destroy the kick with third-order harmonics, like Tom Holland's Spider-Man beating the crap out of Green Goblin. So the time-tested technique a lot of pro mixers use to get consistent low-end is a mixing trick utilizing a sine wave, The sine wave is set to a low frequency, and then there's a gate right after the sine wave generation that's triggered to open with the sidechain from the natural kick. And then blending it in creates a consistent low end umph. Jesse's taking this concept a bit further by adding pitching on board to help tune the sine wave so that it fits better with the track based on the mixer's preference. Plus an attack control to dial in the sine wave being triggered and a decay control to get it right in the pocket. No gate with choppy side effects need apply. But that's not all. One necessary evil of using the sine wave trick is that you are using a synthesized sound. And by design, synthesis can sound unnatural if used too heavily. Knowing this, Jesse and Mixline have added a solution to this right on board by mimicking an occurrence that happens with real-life acoustic drums. When you hit a drum in real life, you get the initial note and then the note drifts down. Think of a tom drum after it's hit. This is part of what makes a natural drum sound, well, natural. And the pitch drive is there to help mixers combat this and get the subchannel to sound closer to its natural counterpart. Making their grand entrance into the low-end plugin scene, Unfiltered Audio are the masterminds behind some of the most intriguing and invaluable plugins for producers and mixers, and they've unleashed their latest creation upon the world, Basement. Harnessing the power of harmonics, resonant filters, saturation, shelving, and a myriad of other ingenious processes hidden beneath its unassuming exterior. The next one is easily one plugin that pros love and hate. Hate because of how great it can make a bass sound within a matter of seconds, which is also why pros love it. Shouldn't be a surprise that this plugin comes straight from the master himself, Chris Lord-Alge. His signature bass plugin is a gem cherished by pros who adore using it on their bass tracks, and combining it with Patchwork for ultimate control of wet-dry blend with your mix. If you haven't given this plugin a whirl yet, you're overlooking a bass cheat code that pros use to effortlessly make their bass tracks fit snugly in a mix. I'm curious if you've ever indulged in shows like Stranger Things and Arcane, or movies like Transformers and Top Gun. If so, you must know that spine-tingling sensation when those earth-shattering explosions hit you square in the chest.
I love it! Come on!
I have a weakness for productions that masterfully incorporate sound design wizardry, but achieving those theater-shaking lows requires more than just layering hits and drops. Of course it helps, but to achieve that pro-engineer magic, engineers need those sublime sub-low harmonics. There are plugins like Waves Low Air and Submarine that help deliver those mind-blowing sub-lows, but there's also one plugin that hangs out with Low Air and Submarine that has been kept pretty secret, and possibly has one of the coolest plugin names I've ever heard, Ambassador. Get it? Ambassador? M-Bass-Adore? You don't get it. Maybe you get it. At the top section, you'll find some standard controls, including a wet-dry balance, and just in case the sub-harmonic generation goes a little bit too wild, Melda Productions have thrown in a wet high-pass filter. The crossover section is where you choose the precise point where Ambassador starts creating those delicious sub-harmonics. And depending on the filter you select, there's a nifty linear phase switch to combat any low-end smearing that may occur with tighter filters. The bass setting grants you a resynthesis of the original bass, while sub generates a sub bass an octave below the original. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Sub 2 goes even deeper,
Oh, no, not that. Just come on, you guys.
creating a sub bass 2 octaves below the original. I know, it sounds ridiculous. Ridiculously awesome.
I like it a lot.
Sub drops and snare bombs will never be the same, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Yikes. Awesome. Yay.
Plugin Alley cannot be held responsible for side effects, including but not limited to annoying your neighbor's brown note cleanup or blown out speakers due to low-end epicness. Use responsibly.
Now let's talk about a couple of tricks I adore when it comes to bass that I've picked up from some of the pros. However, fair warning, one of these tricks can get pretty wild and take you straight into funky phasing chorusing territory. First off, I'm a huge fan of widening the top end of my bass. Jason Joshua has a nifty trick where he filters out the lows and keeps the highs and then spreads them using Waves PS22. While Jacob Hansen does something similar, but opts for a reverb plugin instead that I covered in my sneaky widening tricks video. And then there's other pros who swear by the chorusing type plugins like Microshift for the bass spread. Another trick pros do to get bass to translate to other systems is by adding harmonics to the high mids of the bass. There is also mono summing tricks many mixers use with plugins like BX Digital, or a plugin like Pro Q3 and using high pass filters in mid side and just filtering out the low end side information to essentially make the low end mono. These tricks are all great, but there are a lot of different plugins to be used to make this all happen. But here's where things get exciting. Instead of stacking a bunch of separate plugins for all this processing, I accidentally stumbled upon a plugin that combines all of it under one roof and is specifically designed for bass. Bassline Pro is armed with phase coherent filters meticulously crafted to preserve the integrity of your bass's phase. It even boasts an anti-phasing and aliasing algorithm so your summed mono bass stays intact. Plus, it offers harmonics for the mids and a spreader. It's like you're a top-notch chef punishing the finishing touches on the exquisite bass dish you just cooked up.
Delicious.
Each of these plugins offers something uniquely amazing to your low end, but even when you achieve the most tight and punchy, monstrous, earth-shaking low end, if the mix isn't glued and clear, well, makes having that fat low end absolutely pointless. Which is why you'll want to see what sneaky plugins pros have been using to get the glue and clarity in their own mixes that they prefer stay secret.